Good gravy. How are you doing this evening? I am still trying to wrap my mind around the earlier stream I saw from Road Hog. I just had to come on and talk about it for a few minutes because it's kind of bizarre. I've been struggling with this since I heard about it. Okay, if you don't know who I am, I'm Suzanne Titkemeyer. I used to write, hey Cheryl, hey again, I should say. I used to write a column for No Longer Quivering for Pathos for almost 10 years. And hey, Liz, and now I'm just doing my own thing. And my own thing can sometimes be very puzzling. I don't really want to talk about Pestilence Adams tonight, but I have to talk about something that has happened in her surrounding family. Apparently, I don't like this light. Hey, dinner's ready. I'm so hungry right now. I waited all day and I had Canadian Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to any Canadians. Don't forget to leave a like. Thank you so much. So here we are. Heather, I am so glad to see you again. I don't know about you guys, but I'm blown away. I watched Road Hog's thing earlier, and I've been hearing hints for a long time that there are women that supposedly Todd Paulson has put the moves on, done the electric boogaloo, tried to get with them. And I've been hearing this for a long time. But as a lot of things, you hear a lot of things and you think, well, maybe it's true. Maybe there's a grain of truth. And it's kind of like the Duggar rumors. You hear all these rumors about the Duggar family, and so many times you can look at them and say, that's obviously not true. That's unlikely. And you hear a lot of things and you don't post them. So this was a little bit different. Road Hog's been circling this for a while. I have heard tell myself that this was a possibility. And then today, Road Hog did his video on it with Julie Gagne. Julie Gagne is his secret source. Okay, I have questions. I have lots of questions. I don't know about you guys, but I have lots of questions. First of all, I have had some interaction here with Julie where she's come after me a few times as a super fan of Pestilence Adams. So we've had some former history. I hate to doubt the story of any woman who says that somebody tried to pull SA on her. I hate to doubt the story of any woman. But the more I listened to her tell Road Hog the details, and I watched her scramble to come up with things as he kept asking questions, the more I found myself not believing her story. Here's the thing about stories. Well, these SH situations. Julie Gagne is a super fan of Pestilence Adams, okay? She's not a YouTuber. She has posited herself for the last so many years as being one of KJ's super fans. You see her post all the time. COVID Julie. So anyway, you see Julie posting again and again and again, supporting KJ. And going after the KJ Truther movement. She's done that a number of times now with various things. I don't know who. Pestilence Adams, Cheryl, is the sarcastic nickname that I gave KJ. Because every time I see KJ, she's wiping her nose or blowing her nose or burping or all those things that we just don't do that in polite society. If we're going to have our nose running like I frequently do, we grab a tissue. That's why I was called, for the same reason I was calling her without a box of Kleenex. But for ages, she's been doing these gross things. Well, I noticed the other day, a couple of weeks ago, with her dark hair and her heavy dark makeup, said she looks a lot like Tuesday Adams or Wednesday Adams. She looks like a grown-up cousin of Wednesday Adams. So I started calling her Pestilence Adams because of that. Because like I said, I'm sick to death of talking about her. And this really is not about her. It's about her husband. Her poor husband that she has bragged that she is joyfully unavailable through. Yeah, I'm sorry, Cheryl. I should have explained that better. If the story is false, it just fuels KJ's victimhood. I almost question if Julie was planted by KJ and Toad. I could be way off, but it's just a theory I have. Heather, you are not the only ones. I said as soon as I saw that, if we don't see receipts, and I mean receipts pretty quickly, then I think we're going to have to just discount this as a planted story. We all know that stories have been planted in the past. Just look at the whole Nat thing. Just look at the whole Nat thing. That was a whole plant. Good to see you, that Amber chick. So, we saw with Nat, who swore up and down all these things about KJ, and turned out Nat wasn't real. She wasn't true. It looked like she had been a plant. I am doing well, Angela. So, Lisa, that's exactly what I was thinking. This has got to be the perfect thing to help Todd kick off whatever kind of content he is for KJ, or even to kick off his own channel. Float this awful story that has been rumored about for forever. Don't give details. Do not give any receipts. Now, you know darn good and well that if he was saying those things to her and she was recording live videos, like she said, she would have done a screen cap or two. I'm not saying it's 100% impossible. I'm just saying I think it's unlikely. I think Road Hog is so eager to take any kind of action when it comes to certain people. It's kind of like cooking the spaghetti and throwing it against the wall and seeing what sticks. Now, I don't like to say that. I don't like to even see anyone doing that, because when you start making stuff up or you start grasping for straws, you're playing to exactly what it is that Mrs. Paulson does. You're making stuff up again. And I don't care how badly you want to take her down. You got to have receipts for this stuff. You can't just be throwing things out there. Suzanne, have you seen the video clip shared on Twitter that verifies what Julie said about not DMing? Yes, I did. I did see that, Artie's Angel. And I'm not 100% sure what to make about all of this. But here's the thing. If you're going to go in there and you're going to make those allegations to Road Hog or anyone else, you better at least be showing the person that you're making the allegations to the receipts. Because if you don't, you're just going to end up making them look stupid. You're going to make yourself look like you're Natalie .20. This could go either way as far as I'm concerned. This could go either way. And I hate to say that this is 100% fake because we just don't know. But I'm going to discount it until I actually see some receipts showing it. Artie's Angel, I am too, particularly since I like to believe women when SH allegations come out, particularly in the Me Too movement. I noticed the other day, I was going through my Facebook notices, and I noticed that almost exactly 3 years ago, I said that I was having a great deal of trouble listening to any kind of excuses. Boys will be boys excuses for any kind of SH or SA. And I still am. I'm very highly triggered when this crap comes out. I'm very uncomfortable with it. Hey, Bo. I think people are using now as a time to strike against KJ because she's too obsessed with Gabby Petito case to care about her haters. Yes, Liz, this is interesting that all the death threats and the stalkers suddenly stopped the minute that Gabby Petito appeared on our radars. I don't want to question a victim, but there's some things about this that feel really squishy and false and weird. So I guess we're going to have to sit back and wait and see what happens. Oh, Lisa, that sounds like such a heavenly way to wind down. Unfortunately, I don't have a bathtub, or I would here. I think it's a half truth. Maybe no screenshots because she was more involved in flirting than she wants to admit. I don't know. It's kind of fishy to me. It screams Nat all over again. Yes, that's exactly what I was saying. I think it's very likely that there's something going on. They really should have some type of proof, because when you make these allegations and they're false, there's no proof, you just make it all the harder for other women to be believed when they actually do have these things. And Dennis Reddy, she's saying it's happened within the last couple of months. Yes, Jamie, it is very suspicious that the mother lives just a road over from the Paulsons. Yeah, receipts or it didn't happen. Exactly. Yeah, there's so much. And here's Phoenix. I don't think it's true because I haven't seen any receipts. I mean, if she has receipts and brings them up, and I was watching the live when he was interviewing her, and there are just some things that were red flags that were jumping off for me that made me think that maybe this isn't 100% true. And here's the thing. I don't know about her. I don't know about Julie Gagne, who I have had knocked heads with a couple of times over her obsessive love of KJ and her showing up here and saying ugly things. My husband has a friend that's really a creep. He's a grade A creep. When I was last in the DC area, my daughter and we had a conversation with my husband, an unfriendly one, about this guy. This guy has hit on me. He's hit on her. He's said inappropriate Facebook things. He once asked me if I flashed my boobs for beads. And I did not play with him. Every time he started some crap with me, it was like, block. Because I don't have time for that nonsense. And I am so triggered as somebody who has been a victim of SA in the past, that when people start that with me and I start having reactions. So anyway, this guy just blocked him each and every time he's popped up. That's what I'm not understanding about her story. Even with the Nigerian scammers, eventually you kick them to the curb. You don't listen to this again and again and again and again and again for months. And if it was mutual, there is zero scandal. Exactly, Artie's Angel. And here's the other thing I want to bring up. This is the Paulsons' marriage. It's really up to them. I can't believe I'm defending KJ. It is up to them how they run their marriage. Whether there is an open marriage where partners do their own thing, whether it is a celibate relationship, everything and anything between the bounds of that marriage that they agree on is 100% their business, not ours. That's the other thing I'm uncomfortable with these reveals about. They could easily have an open marriage for all we know. And if there's mutuality, there's no scandal. There's just an exposure of something that perhaps we weren't supposed to know. But I don't know about you guys, but I do not want to know. I don't want to know. There are some things, and some people have had to avoid because they want to tell me all about their sexuality and their sexual experiences. And I just do not want to know. I mean, you're happy with your sexuality, I'm happy for you, but you don't have to explain to me in great detail how this or that or the other thing fits together. I don't want to know. And even Katie and Todd deserve some modicum of privacy if this is how they choose to run their lives. They really do. And if he was this offensive to Julie for so long, why on earth did she put up with it? Like I said, my husband's creep friend, every time he appeared, I would block him every single time. Because the last thing I wanted at Facebook is one of my husband's high school friends asking me if I ever flashed my boobs for beads at Mardi Gras. It's just not appropriate. It's not appropriate for him to ask. It's not appropriate for me to tell him. Boundaries, folks. Boundaries. Give it 48 hours and see what happens. No need to defend or blame anyone. You are exactly right. It's fishy to me because she continues to continue to DM him. When I have a coworker that was just awkward in communicating, I blocked him. I didn't DM anymore. It's like she was enjoying the attention. That's exactly what I was thinking too. There's just so many things about this that are just rub me the wrong way. I think people are trying to white knight, and it's not a good look. You're exactly right. Yeah, nobody got time for that with the extreme details. And like I said, we don't know. This could be how their marriage works. And that's one thing I have learned in my many, many years that I have fought with people in Quiverful about. There's no one wrong or right way to run a marriage. It's whatever works for you. It really is. No, I haven't seen, I've got to say, back in the 70s, I saw very few people that successfully navigated open marriages without it blowing up in their face eventually. So there is that. And I've seen it happen now too. But at the same time, that is strictly their business if that's what they want to do. Also, if she was going on camera, she could have given herself a hairstyle other than the 60s band member. I'm not going to beat her up for that, Liz. I mean, she probably could have had a more flattering hairstyle, but hey, that's on her. That's not really on anybody else. With her screen time, I doubt she's doing anything other than Googling live your life, Todd. Don't care about anybody else. Anyone else's happy fun times. Let's just put it that way. So I know Road Hog is eager to get the nail in the coffin, to have the silver spike to kill the YouTube emotional vampire. But I don't think this is going to be the way to do it. I think this may actually earn Road Hog some sort of cease and desist or slander or something. Even though I know it's not his intention to be hurtful with any of this, he's just trying to find any way he can to take her down, and this is not it. You know, there's wrong and right ways to criticize people and things to criticize people over. Artie's Angel, you're right. People do need attention. They need affection. A lot of people need physical affection. Some people just need touch. I mean, when I look and see the people actually have careers being cuddlers for other people, I know that our society is broken and wrong when people have no outlet to touch people and to be touched without it being sexual. We all need it. We all need hugs and various touching. It's just how we're wired as humans. Except for me, I'm not a big fan of touching, only because I have extreme nerve pain left side of my body. It's like good touch, very bad touch. So there's that. And I don't know. I'm not totally buying her story. That's all I'm going to say. We have to wait and see. Yeah, hug therapy, Artie's Angel. That is a really good thing. And I never was a hugger. That's one good thing I carried out on my Quiverful church. I started being able to hug people and be hugged back and not cringe when I did that. I think I've always had something wrong with me in that regards, because There's some things that people do that have just absolutely horrified me through the years. Being touched by strangers is one of them, one that I've never really been super comfortable with. Yeah, Cheryl, and that is a problem. And that, like I said, that's something I'm actually going to maybe start talking about is marriage and hug bars. Lisa, that's actually pretty cute. I'm glad. I know that some of the swapping groups have had tickle parties and they've had hug groups too that have nothing to do with sex, but have to do more with human touch. And there are those, when people have those needs and they aren't being met, they're going to turn to something. So I think the idea of a hug bar is probably a pretty safe one. People in my bubble give me anxiety, but I like to be in the general vicinity of others and to communicate. Same, same. Yeah, I need people not to be in my bubble. Liz, I have daughters that love hugs and a son that does, that are not like me, but they don't have this nerve thing going on where you touch me and I jump out of my seat and scream, yeah, ouch, So there is that, and it's really it's okay to be that way. A lot of my cuddling, my good cuddling, I'm looking around for her. Where are you, Pork? A lot of my good cuddling comes from my cats. That's good touch. I know. That's the bad thing about COVID is killed a lot of these good things. And Heather, yes, I'm afraid this is going to blow up in Road Hog's face. He is not my favorite creator, but I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him suffer as a result of this. We all make mistakes. I mean, I've certainly made a number of them that I've had to apologize for. I don't always call things right here, which is why I'm saying that we need to just kind of give this time um, and see what happens. But maybe not. That's one thing I've had to learn with YouTube. You don't automatically believe everything that everybody says, particularly if you don't know what people's motives are and you don't know where they're coming from. Everybody's coming from their own weird little space of ground and their own odd little ideas. I know I have mine. Blue colors are safe. You are exactly right. They are super safe for that. Except that yesterday I got bitten hard by one of my floofs. Maybe it was bait from the Paulsons to discredit a few anti-channels. Lisa, that would not surprise me either. This pandemic has just made me get way too comfortable with being a socially awkward person. That Amber chick, it's giving me excuse not to go out in public, and I love it. I'm kind of an introvert. I struggle with my health. I have not struggled with a pandemic. I know everybody else, a lot of people struggled, not me. This has felt nice, actually. And I can see where Todd might actually try to reach out to someone if he's in the need of that. So I can't completely discredit her. I have to sit back and wait and see, and we'll see if the receipts ever come. Full on hermit. I'm full on hermit too. Except I gotta say, I went out tonight. I went out to dinner and I was around other people and I didn't freak out. We went to Canadian Thanksgiving at a lovely restaurant in Playa Flamingo today. And it was just really nice being out and being social for a change and being socially distanced. But I'm usually the hermit. I'm usually a hermit here because I just am. I run to different places. And the crochet store is open in Tamarindo. So today I was super social. I ran out to the crochet store to get orange and gold yarn. If I didn't have to go to work or entertain my kids, I'd be a hermit too. Bliss. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of a lot of people. I was trying to explain that to a friend of mine earlier, a friend of mine named Bruce, about why I kind of stick to myself here in Tamarindo. And I have a few good friends, and then the rest of them, I'm kind of like, to the point where I thought about starting Real Housewives of Tamarindo channel, because I've seen and heard so many scandals go down since I moved here 4 years ago. So that's the other thing. So I don't really know, knowing how involved with KJ that Julie Gagne has been, makes me just very, very suspicious of the entire thing. Julie, if you have receipts and you're telling the truth, I welcome you into the community. I've said this before. If somebody wants to come who has had problems with, but I'm going to need to see a few receipts first. This has aided my horrible descent into social awkwardness. I think it has for a lot of us. I think it really has. Dread having to leave the house. Yeah, I feel that one too. I've always been a homebody. I love snow days myself. I used to love snow days. I miss the snow here. There's no snow here. So I'm like the rest of you guys. We're just going to have to sit back and watch. I always say that people tell you who they are eventually. They'll tell you either by their actions, their words, or a combination. And sometimes you'll run across somebody that says all the right things, but they're doing something that is so totally contrary that you really have to evaluate all these things and figure out where they're coming from. Yeah, she did say that. I saw that. She get the popcorn right now. I sit down the Diet Coke, and I've got nuts to go with that popcorn. So there's that. So, is there anything else I need to cover with this, you guys? I don't mind the mask either, Bliss. I'm used to it. I've said this before about the mask. I'm going to repeat it because I know there are a number of you that are not in there, not into my chat in the past that have not heard me say this. I was using N95 masks for my asthma when it got bad, way before the pandemic. So I knew the whole idea that the pandemic and the masks were going to kill people, masking was going to kill people, was you know what. So this is just me, instead of masking when my asthma was bothering me, masking all the time. It's just a thing. I can't wait till this is over. I already have an idea and a design in mind for making a quilt with all my lovely quilting fabric masks that I've made. So there will be that. Here's the other thing about all this. This just struck me yet again. How hard or easy would it be for KJ to go after Roadhouse's channel, to have YouTube take him down, to use this information that he's giving out to completely discredit him? He has been one of the more consistent people to go after her. And this might be a way to completely neuter him and shut him up, to silence his voice. And I think there's a lot of truth about what's happening. She is still a paying member. So here I'm going back and forth talking about the pandemic, and I'm talking about Roadhouse's revelations that Julie Gagne is saying that Todd hit on her. I had to laugh. I made a meme out of a picture of Todd where he used one of the quotes that she said, the quote where he said he would do so many things to her so wonderfully that she would speak his name in every language. I just laughed over that. That, to me, that was hysterically funny. Oh, they do that for me too. I don't have to worry about, do I have lipstick on? Because the only thing I will wear here because of the heat is lipstick and powder. Okay. Nothing more than that ever, because if you wear anything more than lipstick and powder, it's going to melt right off your face in 100-degree plus heat. Yeah, I read through his comment section too, and I'm still trying to figure out where this goes with this. And I don't know how sharing this story would protect KJ's heart. I guess we have to wait and see what happens next. Lisa, when you hit that menopause age, you do start growing the weird facial hairs. And I have not been as good about grooming all of my facial hair now because you're wearing a mask over where it would be. So there's that. I have to go back and reread them. Jamie, I am about to do the same thing myself. I believe he's about to get such a wave of pushback over this deal that he's going to probably end up pulling it all down. I just don't see how I could possibly leave it standing. I just don't, because it's so bizarre. And I'm quite frankly, I'm shocked that he went for it. It's such an early stage of the story. I know he's been promising this for quite some time. I've heard rumors of this for quite some time, but because I haven't seen any actual proof, I was tending not to believe them. She also said she was hoping KJ would call her and talk woman to woman. Oh, is that a good idea? You know, if it was me and my husband was flirting with somebody else and making those comments and it was real, I would be livid, red hot. I would be ready. I would be ready to give him the snip, snip. Do the, what do you call that? The Lorena Bobbitt thing. And the last thing I would want to do would be to have a conversation with the woman that he was having those types of conversations with. I would have to say, well, I may or may not hold a grudge against you, but I really don't want to talk to you about this. Again, this is their business. This could just be how they run their marriage. There's no telling. You shouldn't be exposing other people's. Oh, Cindy D. I'm glad you showed up too. Yeah, and I'm thinking I might go do a few little screen caps too. Yeah, it's just there's so much. It's just such a huge super red flag. Dinner's ready? I don't think so. I think Todd, according to her, Todd wanted to reach out and touch her personally and wanted her to go to a hotel room with him, according to what she was saying, allegedly. Oh, so there's that. Yeah, my issue would be with the husband. If it was my husband, it would be with the husband. And that's not to say that people don't get accused of this stuff and you clam up, you don't share it with the whole wide world, and maybe you wait to see proof that the husband is innocent or guilty before you make a final decision about what you're going to do. I mean, if it was me, I'd be making him sleep, I'd say in the basement, but that's where her office is. But then again, we don't know what's going on over there. We have no way of knowing what their marriage relationship is. Now, somebody said something earlier about knowing a lot of people that made open marriage work. I think these days there are more people that make it work. But let me tell you, in the 1970s, when I saw this, I saw it blow up everybody's marriage that tried it. I had a married couple that wanted me to join them in their marriage. And while I thought both of them were attractive people, I was friends with both of them. Our husbands played music together. I was just not interested in that sort of thing at all. So we might not get to see Todd's takes. No, I think my personal opinion on this is that this was cooked up to bring views to Todd's takes and to take some heat off of KJ, because she is getting quite a lot of heat right now over the Gabby Petito story. She's rightly getting that heat. Several newscasters have called her out. NBC called her out. I was watching CNN the other night, and Anderson Cooper did a backhand called out. He didn't actually say anything about crystal balls or anything. He just said YouTube influencers were messing in the case and creating havoc that was making it longer to investigate. I went through it. It was all on my ex. He told women stories and they believed. And it was not on them, really. I even spoke to a few and felt so bad. Cindy D, yeah, it's kind of hard when your husband cheats. My first husband relentlessly cheated, and I never blamed the women. I always put it where it belonged, at his feet. He wanted to have an open marriage. I would not. I would not talk to the women. I felt bad for them because he all told them our marriage was horrible and he was going to leave me. Of course, that cheater's mantra. But when I left him, he was shocked. Maybe KJ cooked it up. See, she's the reason he nixed Todd. I didn't believe KJ's idea. I think Todd came up with that. Yeah, I'm really shocked at that too. I'm really shocked how people invent these things. And like I said, some of the things that are invented about the Duggars are invented by unnamed Duggar insiders that I don't listen to. Oh, did y'all hear that Jill Duggar Dillard had a miscarriage recently? I am so sorry to hear that, Jill. Right there with you, been there, done that. Not happy healing, peaceful healing, because that's about the only thing you can do. Take some time grieving and getting that out of your heart. It just does. Be upset with my husband for sure. That's who deserves the wrath. Always the husband is the one that deserves a way of getting a break from all the household stuff. Who's gone? Yep. I'm gone. Okay. I'm back. Buffering. I'm back. What am I doing back? Costa Rica's internet sucks. We've been having terrible thunderstorms tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and bid you guys good night, because I know if it's buffering, it's going to start buffering again. That's the only thing that I can say I'm really disappointed with here is the infrastructure is kind of sucky. And one of my friends was talking earlier about how you can accept the culture here and be perfectly fine with it and get exhausted by the culture. Sometimes you get exhausted by the culture and these things happen. I sometimes get really exhausted by the culture when I don't have decent internet and when the power starts flickering on and off, on and off, on and off. Everything we own here is on it's on surge protectors for a reason, and we have to replace them. Jill had an early miscarriage. She found out she was pregnant and then days later had a miscarriage. Good night, everybody. Sleep tight. I'm going to try to get to sleep here shortly. I don't know if I will, between the rich food and everything else that's happened tonight and all of this. I know I'm going to be thinking about this all night. Thinking about it. Yeah, I'm guessing that too. So let's sit back and watch. I'm not wishing that show to happen. Make your popcorn, ice your Cokes and beer, and be ready. Night, everybody.